Can you provide the business owners listening one or two examples of some things that they should just not worry about, you don't have to talk to the senior operating partner about, and then some of the things that would require your attention?
Well, probably the best way to start with that is setting the budget. So in all private equity environments, but especially in MCM Capital, setting the budget is really, really important. And it starts, if I just talk about it as a calendar year, it starts in sort of the October timeframe of the year before, and it's what do we think about sales? Where are sales going to go next year? Because sales sets the pattern for everything else underneath. So we try to come up with a proposal, we get that in front of the board. Once you get that, you can say, okay, in order to get these sales, what do you need to achieve these sales? This is what you think you can get. Do you need to hire people? Do you need to buy equipment? Do you need to expand your plant? What do you need to do? Mm-hmm. When there's an agreement on the budget, that pretty much, as long as the president is working within that budget that's been agreed by the board, he can pretty much call his own shots within the budget. If he needs to go outside of the budget, then you definitely have to come to me, and depending on how far outside of the budget, mm-hmm. you might say, boy, we have this great opportunity, but we need another $1 million piece of equipment. Well, that needs to go to the board of directors, right? So, but it comes through me first. Okay, let's put together a plan, and let's justify this to the board of directors. So, generally speaking, if you're looking at sort of levels of authority, matrix, and things like that, so hourly workforce, that is purely within the control of the president of the company. Do you need to hire? Do you need to fire? Do you need to run overtime? That sort of thing. Mm-hmm. Purchasing of materials to come in and out. Raw materials for the business, service items, maintenance items. That's entirely within the realm of the president. If you want to hire or fire or change the salary of executives on your team, now you have to come to me. Mm-hmm. And the president can't change his own salary or compensation, and that's pretty obvious. I think in terms of people, a good rule to follow is 1/1. So, if you have a vice president working for you and you want to move a salary up or down, or her salary up or down, well, you need 1/1 approval, so that comes to me. The president's salary, that goes to the board of directors. That, mm-hmm. 1/1. For me, 1/1. And I try to do that also in the communication thing. So I tell the executive team, you should feel free to be able to call me at any time. I said, now, if you do call me, it is proper business etiquette that you should tell the president, hey, I'm going to call Harry, or I called Harry. So you should let him know. The president should not be surprised that you talked to him. And the president shouldn't feel bent out of shape if I put a call to one of his vice presidents. So by the same token, the president can pick up the phone and he can call somebody on the board of directors about something. Mm-hmm. And it's proper etiquette for him to say to me, hey, I'm going to put a call through to maybe Bobby's on the board, or maybe Mark Manser's on the board. So the communication ought to be free flowing. And the key to good communication, the number one key is honesty. You just tell people to the best of your knowledge what it is. So, got it. And that tends to pay off if everybody has the same goals, right? So somebody's not trying to go over this way and somebody else is going that way.
Right. So let's stay with communication for a bit. So, business owners think about selling their business, and one of the things that they, I wouldn't say concerned about, but are interested in, is the level of communication. How often do I need to reach out to the private equity firm? What's the cadence of communication? Do I need to, what is necessary for me to provide the private equity firm?
That's a really good question. So one is what's required, another is, what do you want to do, right? So what's required? If I'm the senior operating partner in a business, there's going to be a weekly call. And the weekly call will involve the president, it will involve his senior financial person, and will probably involve his senior technical person, his senior plant ops person, and his senior sales and marketing person. And those calls are generally on the order of an hour. In fact, I stage them one after the other. So I don't want them to go over an hour, and they don't.
And those calls aren't homework. Those are really.
No, and I'll come back to that. But let me. So that's the first thing, and that's pretty much the only thing that the president has to do with me. Now, on a monthly basis, there are monthly financials that are put together, according to GAAP principles. They go to me, they go right up to the Cleveland home office, and then there's a quarterly board meeting. So those are the things that have to be done. Depending on where we are with the cycle of the business and how well I really get to know the team, I'll personally visit, either once every week and a half. Right when we start out, there'll be a lot of visits, and then it usually tends to tail off. So if I know somebody really well, we've been working together for 3 or 4 years, I might only visit once out of every 6 weeks. Probably by that time, though, in addition to the weekly call, the president's calling me or I'm calling him a couple of times a week, for whatever. It might be that, gee, I bumped into somebody from General Electric blah, blah, blah division, and they could really use some of your products, and here's the contact number. Or the president might call and say, hey, guess what? I think we might have a really good opportunity on sales. So whatever it is, but that's really a developing thing. Getting back to the core of it, though, it's really about honesty. No one should really be surprised at a conversation, where the other person's coming from.